On to Bangladesh now. The country's most prominent opposition leader, Tarique Rahman, has returned home after nearly 17 years in exile, a homecoming that could prove to be pivotal for the country's political future. The acting chairman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and the son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia, Rahman is widely viewed as a leading contender for the Prime Minister's post there in next year's general elections. And upon his arrival, hundreds of thousands of supporters lined the route from the Dhaka airport to the reception venue, waving the party flags, carrying placards, banners, flowers, chanting slogans, welcoming him home. The opposition leader arrived dressed in a light grey blazer, white shirt, waving out to the crowd as he made his way to a rally site, where the BNP says it hopes to mobilize millions. Earlier, in fact, the leader briefly walked barefoot in a symbolic move to mark his homecoming. The video shared on the leader's Facebook page showed him taking a handful of soil after stepping out of the airport barefoot, addressing a massive rally in Dhaka. Tarique Rahman invoked Martin Luther King Jr., declaring, I'm quoting, I have a plan for the people of my country, quote unquote. And as he called for peace and unity, he said that he needs the cooperation of every person. Only then will it be possible to implement the plan. And the Bangladeshi media cited him as saying, and I'm quoting now, it is time for us all to build the country together. In this country, there are people from the hills, plains, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians. We want to build a safe Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, no matter who, a woman, man or child is, they should be able to leave their home safely and return safely, quote unquote. That's the statement. Now, it wasn't just Tarique Rahman that made headlines, though. Alongside the return of the BNP acting chairman, his pet cat also reached Dhaka today, brought in under a special arrangement, and the arrival of that pet adding a personal and emotional element to the occasion as well. Tarique Rahman's return comes at a rather volatile point in the country's landscape. The country has been on edge following the death of youth leader Sharif Osman Hadi, who died in Singapore after the assassination attempt early this month. Violence escalated further this week when a crude bomb was thrown from a flyover in central Dhaka, killing one person on the spot. Even today, there have been sporadic incidents of violence, which have claimed at least 2 Hindu men reportedly in cases of mob lynching and bomb blast. In fact, Rahman is widely viewed as the front runner for the premiership ahead of the election scheduled for February 2026 and following last year's ouster of the country's longtime leader Sheikh Hasina in a student-led uprising that reshaped the country's political landscape. As for why now, Rahman had been unable to return for years due to multiple criminal cases, including convictions handed down in absentia. Those rulings were overturned after Hasina's removal, clearing the legal path for his homecoming. And according to analysts, Rahman is expected to fill a leadership vacuum within the BNP as his ailing mother remains seriously ill and unable to lead the party. With the elections round the corner, political tensions mounting, Tarique Rahman's return is already being seen as a defining moment, not just for the BNP, but for Bangladesh's fragile political transition and for the people on the ground. Tarique Rahman's return coming at a point of deep uncertainty, to say the least, with Bangladesh grappling with political violence, a fragile law and order situation, and an economy under strain. Many have been left jobless, anxious about what lies ahead. The question is whether Tarique Rahman can turn his words into actual results. Can he heal the polarized nation? Can he restore stability, bring calm? Can he lead Bangladesh back towards democracy and economic recovery? What if the human body is quietly sensing far more than we ever thought? Think you've got 5 senses? You might want to think again. Scientists now say the truth about human perception is far stranger and a lot more complex. A new study claims we may have over 30 sensors ticking quietly inside us. Take a look.
We see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. That's what we've always been told. Aristotle said it. Science textbooks repeated it. And we believed it. But now researchers say that simple story is wrong. Humans are sensory powerhouses wired with over 30 ways to feel the world. Your body doesn't just sense sound or light, it tracks pressure, temperature, balance, pain, hunger, thirst, and even your heartbeat. There's a sense that tells you where your limbs are without looking, that's proprioception. Another warns you when your blood sugar dips, that's interoception. Even your sense of ownership, knowing your hand is yours, is a sensory experience. Lose it, and the mind plays tricks so bizarre they defy explanation. Scientists says our daily lives are a symphony of signals. What you taste depends on what you smell. The sound of your own footsteps can change how heavy your body feels. The vestibular system keeps you upright as the world spins. There are sensors for oxygen levels, carbon dioxide buildup, inflammation, and even immune activity. Your body doesn't ask permission, it acts first. We are walking antennas, constantly scanning, calculating, and reacting to data points that are invisible to the naked eye. The classic five were just the opening act. The real show is happening deep within your synapses, where 30 different voices are screaming the truth about the world around you. You aren't just living, you are sensing on a level that borders on the supernatural.
Shifting focus now to Israel. It has announced a major shift in its defense strategy. The Prime Minister has said that the country will invest about $110 billion over the next decade to develop an independent, self-reliant domestic arms industry. And the decision comes after nearly 2 years of the conflict on multiple fronts, which has put heavy pressure on Israel's military stocks and supply chains. Here's what he said.
We will continue to acquire essential supplies while independently arming ourselves. I don't know if there is such a thing as a country that is entirely independent, but we will strive to ensure our arms are produced as much as possible in the State of Israel. I approved a total of 350 billion shekels, 110 billion over the next decade, to build an independent armaments industry for the State of Israel. We want to reduce our dependence on any external party, including allies.
And the thing is, this comes amid Israel's rising defense spending. According to the Israeli government data, Israel plans to allocate 16% of its upcoming budget to defense, which is about $35 billion, out of an overall budget of $208 billion. Before the Gaza war that followed Hamas's attack in October 2023, Israel's defense budget stood at around $20.4 billion. For decades now, in fact, Israel's military edge has been closely tied to its relationship with the United States under a long-standing defense cooperation agreement between the two allies. Much of Israel's equipment used by Israeli army comes from the United States. And according to the U.S. Congress, in 2025, Washington provided $3.3 billion in military funding to Tel Aviv, along with an additional $500 million for missile defense cooperation. But that dependence has come under strain during the war in Gaza. Several countries have halted or restricted arms sales to Israel at different points, protesting the high civilian death toll. And these curbs have basically reinforced Israel's view that even close friends may not always be reliable in times of prolonged conflict. At the same time, Israel remains a major global arms exporter. According to the Defense Ministry's International Defense Cooperation Directorate, which is known as SIBAT, Israel's defense exports reached nearly $14.8 billion last year. The exports are up from $13 billion in 2023. Between 2018 and 2020, defense exports stood between $7.5 and $8.5 billion, highlighting the sharp growth in recent years, evidently. And in 2024, Europe has emerged as the largest buyer of Israeli defense goods, accounting for 54% of the total exports. The Asia-Pacific region followed with 23% of the total. In South Asia, India continues to be a key partner. India's arms trade with Israel has been described as the bedrock of the strategic partnership that has endured over time. In 2024, the arms trade between the two countries stood at around $185 million. According to the government and industry data, Israel supplied about 13% of India's total arms imports. There are several countries, of course, that normalized ties with Israel under the 2020 Abraham Accords. These countries include the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco. Together, they accounted for 12% of Israel's arms exports in 2024. It's a staggering rise from just 3% in 2023, quite a difference. North America, for that matter, accounted for 9% of the exports, while South America and Africa each made up about 1%. These figures that have remained largely stable in recent years. Israel's push is marking its preparation for a future, one that goes beyond strategic partnership, one where self-reliance is seen as important as friendship.